So today class is about TypeScript. So normally if we look at in programming world, there is two types of languages. If you divide by type checking, right? Strongly typed versus loosely typed, right? So in terms of strongly typed and loosely typed refer to how programming language handles types, right? Particularly how strict they are about type conversion and type safety. A lot of things, right? So strongly typed language, example Java, C++, C, Rust. These are the few programming languages, right, which is like strictly typed language. You have to define the variables, right, types in advance. Like if something is number, you have to tell it this is a number, this is the string, this is boolean, this is whatever, right, function or object, whatever, okay, array, all that you have to predefine. And if something is predefined, right, for example, let's say one variable example, let's take one variable here, right? Let's say let name equal to string, like this is a string. We know that in JavaScript. In other programming language, right, you have to tell it, okay, this is a string, right? You have to define like this somehow, right? Maybe the syntax will be different, but you have to tell this is a string. So later, right, if you go back and call the name and you give it like 45 number, then you get error here, error, right? The error will be that cannot assign number to string, means this name box or the basket, right, or variable is for storing string only. You are not allowed to put a number there. So please make correction here and give me the string. So that's how it works. That's the type checking, okay? So in JavaScript, how we will do all this work, we will look at, right, one by one. So let's continue with little bit of reading part, and then so what is the benefit, right, of the strongly typed language? What is the benefit? Lesser runtime error, means when you run the code, most likely there will be no error, right? Minimize the error. Stricter code base, right? Your code is very strictly typed to just avoid all that error. That is what we can call it. Easy to catch error at compile time. Let's say you have finished writing the code. Now you need to compile your code, right, before you can run it. So during the compile time, if there is type error, you will get that error, right? And before even you run the code, you have to fix the error before it will run, right? So before shipping your final code, it will guarantee that your code is written in the proper manner, right, the way it should be, okay? So this is a C++, I believe, code. C++, yeah, include iStream, something like that. So here integer, right, you defining this function already. This is an integer, okay? This function will be integer. Even here is the number int. Look at the type is integer, right? And if you pass string to this integer number, right, letter, and return 0, whatever, okay, if you do that, this code will not work, okay? It will give you error, right? Because number is integer, you must reassign number, you cannot do the string, okay? So that is what all mean, right? Loosely typed language like Python, JavaScript, or PHP, these are the loosely typed language, okay? There is benefit also, easy to write code, even if there is something unusual, right, the code will run fast to bootstrap, you can quickly run the code. Low learning curve. So when you're writing loosely typed language, right, like we learning JavaScript, it is loosely typed language. Basically, in here we're not dealing too much with data, right? Type checking and all that. So we don't really focus how the data is moving from one place to another. You are writing the function, you're doing all that, but you just don't realize what you're getting here from the API. How like API giving you array inside the array, what kind of data is that, right? You just don't realize. You just do the work and you still get confused, right? Why? Because you never deal with the type of data. The program, in the program, right? Basically, we're not doing the type checking. So even if there is something unusual, right, you will not figure out. It's just difficult, okay? But it's easy to write code and all that. So how we gonna fix that? By doing the applying the TypeScript, right? So I look at this code, JavaScript, simple function here. You have let number equal to 10. Even if you do number equal to text here, right, and return the number, you're gonna return this value text, that is string, right? It's okay. There will be no error. This is fine, right? I mean, you can run this code and check here quickly because that's our programming language, right? JavaScript. So just go to the in console here, and so I just wrote this function, right? Now I can call that function app to run. Okay, see, I get text, no error. Look at that, right? So that's not a good programming paradigm, right? Means you must check your data, right? If this data is number, I mean, you can store anything, but in real world, right, if we know number should have a number only, not the text or anything, then your program, your code must check for that, must validate, oh okay, what you are giving me is always number here, in this variable will be always number, nothing else. So now we understand, right, type checking and all that. So let's move to the next. What is TypeScript now, right? Okay, we understand the concept of loosely typed language and strictly typed language, but in our case we will be using TypeScript, right, for our type checking. So what is TypeScript? TypeScript is a programming language developed and maintained by Microsoft. Okay, it is strict syntactical superset, right? It's just the some kind of syntax, right, we add on top of JavaScript. This is not like a complete programming language where you're gonna write the code. No, superset means you just stick the TypeScript to the JavaScript, place it in the somewhere, and it will do the job. That's it. And add optional static typing language, right? Typing to the language means optional static typing to the language means TypeScript add additional, right, type checking to your JavaScript language. That is all you have to understand. Where and how does TypeScript code runs? Now where, because it's a programming language, right, it should run somewhere, correct? So let's see. TypeScript code never runs in your browser or in your computer. Means in your computer means what? Remember we have a server, right? Or node.js which runs JavaScript, correct? So it never runs in your browser or in your computer, in your node.js. Your browser can only understand JavaScript. So how TypeScript does the work? If you look at this diagram, right? So, but let's read this one. JavaScript is runtime language, yes. The thing that actually run in your browser, not just runtime, right? So that is what, this is where the JavaScript run in browser and Node.js, right? TypeScript is something that compiles down to JavaScript. So we write our code, right, in TypeScript file, okay? And then when the program runs, right, what happens? This TypeScript like app.ts will be compiled to JavaScript file, and that file will only run in your browser and Node.js. The TypeScript just compile it, okay? It will just compile means convert your code into JavaScript. So during the conversion, right, TypeScript will do the magic. It will check all your code for correct data type, correct data, right? So it will check if you have added string in place of number. It will check if there is something error. You catch the error here itself before it reach to the JavaScript file and run, right? just catch it here. So that is all it does, just compile it, right, to the JavaScript. Okay, so now we can call it TypeScript as a compiler, right? TSC is the official TypeScript. So now they have different kind of compiler for TypeScript. TSC is the main or official TypeScript compiler that you can use to convert TypeScript code into JavaScript. You know, there are ES build and SWC, right, also, but in our case we just use TSC. That's the official TypeScript compiler. Okay, so how you can install that? In your terminal, just run this code. So what I will do now, right, for example, this is my terminal. I have installed already, but I will show you now. You can install this TypeScript in your computer globally so that you can initialize it later, right? So here, TypeScript install -g, right? So this flag is global. Okay, you see sometimes flag, right, and that is for certain purpose. Okay, the global TypeScript, I mean, it just added something there, right? Fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create one project folder, right? Let's call it TypeScript TSC app, right, like that, and cd to tsc-app. Later, right, we're gonna install nextjs in TypeScript and then just do some work there also. But for now, I'm gonna set up the project in Node.js and try to learn little bit of TypeScript. That's what we're gonna do, right? So I just created the TSC app folder. How we initialize Node.js app? How we do that? Some of you remember npm init, because we need to have a package.json file to install any package, right, to our Node.js app. So what we do first, npm init -y. Every time if you need to create Node.js project, right, like installing any node packages, express or anything, first you initialize npm init -y, and it will install the basically basic package, not basic package, but it will just initialize your project, means it will make it ready to install, right, any other software now. So right now I don't have anything, it's just getting ready. I mean, even you can add basically like let's call it, you can install now, right, anything, npm install nodemon, we can do that, nodemon, right, to you can install. But right now we're not creating any server here, right, so that nodemon will be no use. But still, I mean, you can add, and like you can add here, let's say when I click npm start, right, start start, you can run my basically any file here, right? So I can call something, I can create one file to index.js, let's call it maybe uh, app.js, right, like that. So it can run nodemon app.js, just run that one when I click, right, and I must put a comma because this is the JSON file. Fine, I just show you we can install something, right? So you see now dependency nodemon there. Okay, so we just initialize the project. How we gonna set up, right, TypeScript and write some code in our app? What is that? Let's see. I did not create a file, right? App, I have to create a file. So app.js. Okay, so we're gonna write some code here later. So once we have that, now next step is, because remember the first we install this TypeScript. This is for learning purpose only. Okay, when you install nextjs, right, you don't have to do all these things, it's automatic. Remember, nextjs is easy to work, right? I mean, it just come up with the boilerplate, everything ready to go. You just focus on writing the code. Okay, all these things is just for learning purpose, right? So we have done that. We just created the project folder, maybe like anything tsc app, switch to that one, initialize the npm. Now you have to initialize tsc, right? So npx, you have to do npx, remember that npx this one, right? Enter npx tsc dash dash init. Now if you look at now, right, two things we get here. Okay, the package JSON is there. It was before, right, already before, but tsc config JSON, right, that's the typescript boilerplate. Okay, let's call it boilerplate, right, like information about the typescript. So what this holding, right, this has a lot of information, like target, right, means when a typescript gonna convert your file, I mean typescript is going to convert your file in what format, right, in which JavaScript standard. Remember, there is a language, JavaScript has different languages like version. Take my script 2015. Now they have 2016, 2018, 19, 20, right, the version of JavaScript. So which one we use, this gives us a standard, right, 2016 you can use, right, so that it supports maybe arrow function, all ES6, everything is supported right there, because you're going to write your code in ES6, like arrow function and all the format of ES6, right? So you must choose the right, let's call it version right here, so that your code is converted, and that should be, that should be okay to use. So that should run in any browser or latest browser, right? Okay, so it's given ES6 2016, that's fine. Next will be there are few things we have to understand, right? I think yeah, I put in the like almost last, we're going to look at on the later. Okay, but this is the standard of the typescript. You can turn on off, depends on your need, right, how you want to use your typescript. Okay, for now I'll just leave it standard, just leave it like this. Basically you're going to see something like output, output and input, and module is also, what is this module, right, like common.js. Common.js is not basically common JavaScript, right, not the ES6 but common JavaScript format. Then you can have root dir. So root dir means here you can change, right, where you want to get your basically typescript file, right, and out dir, there should be one more out dir somewhere here. So these are the few things. Sometimes when you're writing your own node.js app, right, or something like this, and you want to use typescript, then you might be creating the root directory and the output directory like that, right, dir, something like that, right? So in that case you're going to change here, but for now I will leave it. Okay, so let's close that. So you don't have to toss this one for now, right? Let's forget about that. Only thing what we're going to focus is how to use that syntax of typescript. Okay, few syntax, right? That is all for us important. So in typescript, right, you don't just write JS. Okay, typescript will give us JS, right, later. What we're going to do is we write in TS typescript like that, no JS but TS, right? Okay, so let's go to the next step. So app.ts, we have done that. So what I will do, right, I'll just copy this code, or maybe, yeah, I mean, just create one variable, right, const x equal to 1, right, like const, look at here, const x equal to 1. That's okay, right? So how you check the type for the variable, how you do that? Colon, and this is a number, right? That's it. If you have any variable, you just put a colon and then type of the type right here. Done. And now you console log, console.log, right? X. So after that, right, I mean, this is correct way of writing a variable. You just have to assign the type of data, right, number. So we will look at all different type of data. Okay, we know number, string, boolean, null, undefined, right, object, array, all that. So we will see how, and also function, right, when you're writing function also you're going to have to do the type checking. So we're gonna run this code now. So look at here, we have app.js here, sorry, ts. So how are you gonna run now? Just type script, right? esc. So run basically typescript compiler, right? So you call it like typescript compiler dash b build, right? That's the flag build, and run that. And now what we get here, look at that, right? You may be thinking, oh, Dev, you had the app just before. No, I converted to typescript right earlier, but now I get this file. And this file is the one gonna run in my browser or Node.js, right? So I can write here Node.js node, right? Not Node.js, but just node app.js like that. And see, I get one here. Look at that. Clear? I get one, right? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna call, you cannot reassign to const, we know that, right? But let's change to let here, okay? Let, right? And then I'm gonna call x equal to something like this is string, right? And run this again, the same command, right? And see what. Oh, sorry, not that one, but the other one, right? You compile it, okay? So, okay, where is the error, Okay, I have to call that again. Let's console log, right? Console.log x again here, and see if we get the correct answer or not, right? See here, when I bring my cursor right to the x, let x is what? Number. But I say x equal to string, right? Oh, sorry guys, I'm changing in the, oh my god, I'm changing in JavaScript, right? That's why, see, JavaScript is okay. If I change here, it's okay, right? I should not be doing that. Sorry, it's my mistake, right? Go back here now and called, let's change this to let, because const we cannot assign revalue, right? I mean, you can reassign the value. So let's change to let, and now try here, right? X equal to uh, this is string, okay? String now, right? And save. And see, you get this red quiggly error. Type string is not assignable to number. Look at that. Type string is not assignable to number. And if I compile this now, I get error message. Now this is what I was talking about. Type string is not assignable to number. X equal to string. So you have to fix here, right? So that means you can only assign maybe number, right? And my error is gone. Okay. And now if I console log x, okay, right? So if I again compile, it's okay, compile now. And if I go back to my app.js now, right? Look at that. So I have x equal to 200, I reassign, and that is what I did. So what we learned here, you can assign the type to your variable. If that is number, string, and all that, right? So that's how you do that. Okay. So now let's go quickly here. We get the idea. So this is the basic type. Basic type in JavaScript is number, string, boolean, null, undefined, and void, right? Basic types. There is array and object, right? Also, but for very simple one is this one, right? Number, string, boolean. Remember before also I said data type you learned, right? That was the data type in JavaScript, but the type checking now here. So just read through number, what it does, how you can set the type to the number, right? How you assign, declare type to the number. String, same thing, string here, right? So if let name equal to John Doe, right? And message, let message is equal to string also. Here you can call that string, no problem. Look at that backtick, you can call this string. It's okay. That is fine, right? Boolean, same thing now. So the formula is variable name, colon, and the type. Simple. So string, boolean, if you understand this, very good enough. Null, undefined, if that is null type, you can read assign to null, undefined. So this is how you assign to type, right, to the variable, colon, and the type. Okay, this is called union type, right? If someone has in algebra, I believe they have union or set or something like that, right? Here in typescript also it has that concept, but we're not going to go deep there, right? Right now. But union, so even you can assign the union type. Okay, you can say either number or null, right? One dash 1 5, right, equal to null. So in this one, let's take this union, right? So apt-yes, I can say let uh like select, right? Select equal to either so you have to define the type here. So here I can say 50, right? For example, 50. Okay, but I can define my type like either number or, right, uh null. That is okay. So next time, if I just go back, select equal to null, right? Still it will not complain. Okay, and I can console.log select. So this is okay. Let's run the code, right? First I have to convert it because typescript is compiled to the JavaScript. No error. Now go back and run this JavaScript. You can see here now, right? Select is equal to null. That is what I get. I mean, right? Here also select equal to 50. Here is no type checking. You just get the final answer, right? But look at that. If I click, if I hover on the select, this is the null or a number or null, right? So let's run the code node app.js and see. I get null because I have assigned null to the select, right? It's okay. You can also declare union type of type checking. Any question on this, guys? I hope that's all clear, right? So next one is void, right? So void is what? Void represents the absence of any type, right? Means if there is no type, you can put a void. If you don't want to put any type, right, you can put a void. So normally the function, when we're going to use, right, let's say you have a function and function does not returns any data. In this case, this function does not returning any data, correct? So you have a function, right? Function greet. I just put a void type here, right? Because I don't have any return like maybe 50 or some string, right? Or maybe array, whatever. Any data, right? I don't have. So in that case, right, you can put a void and there will be, you can avoid the error, right? Basically, that is all what it means, okay? If there is no type checking, then just put a void. So you can compile tsc, and if you go back here, you're going to see that greet function written like this, and you just node, call the node and run that. So it will print hello, right? Okay, without any error, you pass the test. Okay, so that was the void, right? Now what is the thing here to learn? Hello world. So problem one, right? Hello world. So you have to print hello world with first name, right? Something like that. Hello. I mean, basically you can print anything here. Just this function is greet. You passing the parameter, right? And that parameter is some kind of data type, correct? So the question here is write a function that greets a user given their first name. The argument is first name, right? Log this hello first name and does not return anything. Correct? And does not return anything. So that's the problem statement. So things to learn, right? What we're going to learn here, how to give type to your argument of a function. So what we do right now, you have a function. Okay, let me comment this out. You can write anything, right? So let's call it greet function. So this function has an argument called host. So it's very simple. You have seen this function before many times. This function gonna have argument first name, right? This is a function, very simple. So now see, even here it tells you, right, the first name is declared, but it value never you read. Means you getting some like suggestion. Hey, you have the variable or parameter in the function, but you have not defined any type. Means its value has never read. What's up with that? But anyway, so we're just gonna console log, right? Console.log, and let's call it back. Let's put a back tick, and so that it will be easy to insert variable. Hello, first name, right? So how you write the variable inside the string like that? First name. Good. So we are using this one, right? But still, it says first name implicitly has any type, right? Means right now it's any means there is no type, right? So you can make it this any, and the error will be gone, right? Any means you can pass anything here. Okay, later when you call this, right, like first name, oh sorry, greet, when you call the greet function. So sometimes we do like that, right? You can pass 40, right? It will be okay. Even you're supposed to send the number, sorry, name, right? You're sending 40. This is like bypassing, right? This is not a type checking, but just to avoid error, you can do that. I mean, there is a way, right? But we don't want to do that. I want to have a string here. So remember in the variable, what we did, remember that variable name colon type check, right? So that is what exactly here, string. Okay. If you have more than one parameter, so you just comma, right? And let's call it last name colon string. If there is age, right, then that is number. Exactly, that's what you're gonna do. This is the format. Cool. So now I'm going to take this out and look at here now. If I'm calling this function, right, and passing the 40, it will tell me now, it knows already, hey, your parameter is a string. Argument of type number is not assignable to parameter of type string. Look at that. It's smart enough. TypeScript is smart enough to figure out, right? So you have to send the name, right? Robot. Okay, fine. Now this is all okay. So you can call it tsc-b TypeScript compile, and then you can run the node dash app.js. You're going to run JS file, okay? And you get hello robot, right? Look at that. So that's how you assign what do you call that, type to your parameter. And these things looks easy, simple, right? But trust me, I mean, what we do, right, all the time, we're just writing the function and you passing the data. Okay, if you have proper type checking, that's gonna help you, right, minimize your code error while you are writing the code, while you just starting, right? Your code will be 100% guaranteed, right? And you understand, okay, you understand what is happening here. You're passing the string, that means your function needs a function gonna use it string here somewhere, right? You know that already. You understand the flow of the code, right? By just defining all these things. Okay, so here now, right? I mean, if you look at this problem, also same thing. Let me little bit go big. Just the sum, right? Find the sum of two number a and b. So you have two parameter a and b. Just define the number, right? So in this case, your function is returning the value, right? So also, how you gonna define or like check type for return value? How you know, right, what your function is returning? So for that case, I'll just copy this and I will show you now, right? So let's put here. So if you look at this problem, right, find this function sum ab. After this parenthesis, look at there colon number, right? Even if I don't put this here, it will be okay. The typescript is smart enough to understand, right? This function, basically this function, look at here. If I bring the sum and hover here, right? Look at that function a colon number, b colon number, and colon number, right? Look at the number, right? Because it knows you are adding two numbers, and that is what you are returning. Okay. If I delete here, right, and just put the string, return the string. So if I bring now, I hover here, right? Look at that. My typescript is smart enough to understand. Oh, you are returning string. So you colon string, right? But I have to return number, correct? So I will do a plus b. Two numbers add together, that is number, right? Okay, but in this case, right? I mean, you can, like, if I put a number here, let's say my return is number, right? And after that, if I go back and I put string here, look at this. You have the problem now, right? So it says your return is number, but return the type string is not assignable to number. Look at that. Now it tell me, hey, your function is asking you to return number, not the string. Strictly checking here now. Even the typescript is smart enough to figure out by looking at this value, but no, I want to strictly check it, so I want to assign the type here so that I know I'm returning number only. No way anyone can return something else, right? It will be always number. Okay, so in that case, a plus b, and my error will be gone, right? See, that's the benefit. Okay, so the next few more things here to go. Type interference. What is type interference, right? So this is a general, I think, concept. The type interference is a feature in programming language where the compiler or interpreter can automatically uh, deduce, right? Basically convert, the type of a variable or expression without the programmer explicitly specifying it. So that is what we just understand here, right? Means TypeScript, the compiler can automatically convert your types based on the information here automatically. But it's better, right, to assign the type for the return also. It's more better, right? More cleaner. Okay. So that's what this is the definition. Infer, right? Infer means TypeScript giving you the type automatically, right? In certain situation, like in case of function return. So inferring, TypeScript is already inferring your return type. Okay. Infer, right? So that is all I believe is that. So return, now here is a problem again, right? Things to learn is type inference, right? Type inference. So even in this case, you have age number right here, and if age is greater than 80, return true, else return false, right? So when you call this function and pass 2 here, what's gonna happen? It will return false, right? So in this case, what will be the type infer? The like TypeScript will compile your code, but the checking will be for what? The return type will be what? Based on what you returning, boolean. So here should be boolean, right? What I mean is, here go back, and so something is not correct. I didn't copy everything, right? Copy that. So look at here. If I mean same thing, okay. So if you call this illegal, right? If you hover, call means you hover here, the inferring to boolean, that your return value is boolean, because either you can return true or false. If you pass here 2, that is age, right? The parameter is age is less than 18, oh sorry, greater than 18, so 2 is less than 18, so that is false. It will return the boolean false. So that is called inferring, right? If I either you put it here boolean, right, like that is okay. But if you put here let's say number, right, now you're getting error. Now look at that. The boolean is not assignable to type number, right? Means your function is strictly checking to be the return value, strictly checking the return value. Whatever you're returning back is strictly checked before it can go anywhere, right? So TypeScript is smart enough to infer the return value. Infer, right? Okay, let's keep moving, right? Same thing here is one problem, right? Like what is saying? How to give type to a function that has been passed as an argument to another function. Okay. So sometimes remember the callback function, you are passing a function inside another function, right? So how are you going to define the type in that case? Because if you look at this code, okay, for now let's remove this, right? Simple enough. You have function here, function, right? A delayed call. Okay, delayed call means this function is just running set timeout function and call that callback function here, right? And this function will run after 1 second. Okay, so look at here, you passing the function here. This function is just console logging, right? I mean this callback function inside, which is passed to this delay call function, because you remember you just executing this delay call function and you send the function right inside as a parameter. You receive it here. So your function has no type checking yet, so you must define, right? So we can put callback if see, for example, if there is nothing returning, this function has no parameter, nothing. If there is parameter, you can define here, right? It's okay. But if there is nothing, in that case, you can just call the void, right? That's it. So that's how you know assign the type checking for your function in a parameter. This function basically is saying this function is not returning anything, what we have seen before, right, in the void case. All right, so that is all here. So that's the configuration of the tsconfig file, right? The target, we understand target is about all about the a specific version of the TypeScript, right? Basically JavaScript. When TypeScript will compile your code, right? So it should be in which version, like in which JavaScript code, right? ES5, ES6, ES2020, whatever, right? So that is all. Root dir and out dir, right? So what is root dir? Basically, like where should the compiler look for TS5, right? That is root. Okay, where? So we can define, right, when your project is big, because right now my project is small, nothing is there, right? You can define the like a root dir directory here. You can call it root, maybe like that, root, right? Where, and then also the output, where you want to put your output, like your JavaScript file, where, right? So sometimes you will see the folder called dist. This is the standard, maybe people use, right? Dist. So root is the this will, right? Like typescript will go in the root, right? And even if I delete this JavaScript, right? No, I can delete this, delete, delete this, right? Okay. So I have a typescript inside my root, and my JavaScript will be go inside the dist folder. To do that, I just have to make slight change here, right? I have to tell this library here, typescript file out dir, right? So I have to uncomment this, and out dir is basically where you're gonna find your output, the JavaScript, right? So that is dist. So in the root folder inside dist out, right? And then the ts file, so that is something you're gonna put here, right? You have to tell it, because before everything was in the root, but you have to tell now, right? So here the root dir, okay? So uncomment that. So my typescript is inside root folder. So you can name it anything, right? But you just have to correctly place here. Now I'm gonna compile, right? So I'll say tsc dash b enter, right? And it's compiled. And look at here in my dist folder, it just added the JavaScript file automatically. With all the type checking, I have JavaScript, right? And this JavaScript, the one I'm using now, I have to use this JavaScript, right? So let's say I have index page here, for example, right? Index.html, which is gonna run my code, right? JavaScript code. So here, source, I put that. Sorry, script, right? Script script, and then you're gonna add source dot slash. So your inside the disk, right? JavaScript inside the disk. Okay, that's how you run. And if you go live view now, right? If you bring this live server, so you can find all your JavaScript code running here in the console. Look at that. Okay, this is something different error, but just remember this thing is okay running now. So what else we have, guys? What else left? Let's check. Okay, so now is the object, right? Object and the array, two things there, right? To understand. So let's say you have an object, right? Like this. First, remember this is an object. How are you gonna define type for this object? Correct? So I'll just copy this. So mostly in like in our code, right? You will be writing always type for the object, okay? So let's look at here. This will be comma, yeah. So this is the user object with first name, last name, email, age, right? Like that. So you're gonna have to write the interface, right? Interface is like a blueprint, right? For your object, like you mapping your object with the type interface and give the name, okay? Let's call it user, right? Capital user, like that. You can name it anything, but just keep it something same with the capital U. Now you call the first name, right? Same, okay? It must match this property. And this is string, okay? Last name, string, and email, that is also string, right? String. And then you have age, right? that is number. That's it. That is all you have to do, right? So once you do that, okay, once you define, right, okay, one mistake I did is here you don't have to put comma. Okay, this will be, just remember, it's just semicolon, right? Just close it. That is just a, this is not an object. Okay, this is not an object, right? This is just a type setting, so that's fine. That's it. But we have to use interface, right? Interface means this is the shape of your object data type. Shape, right? You have to define the shape. Later we're going to use, right? Because this object is stored in a variable user. Now you will call that user somewhere in a function, right? So in that time, when you call this variable, right, that function will ask you, hey, what is the type of your data? What is the type? Where is the type checker, right? In that time, you're going to call this. And typescript will compare, okay, first name is string, fine. Last name is string, fine. Email is string, fine, right? Age is number, good to go. Let's run the code, right? So that's what's going to happen. So let's look at the function, right? Next will be, here is the assignment, okay? Create a function is legal, right? And that returns true or false if the user is above 18. It takes the user as an input. So this user, right, has an input. So I mean, same thing. This the function is legal. We can write it. We can write. Let's write it right here. So function is legal like that, right? I have here again before, right? This function, okay. So we have the function already, right? What is saying now? Okay, okay. So I cannot. I think because of the name. So let's make it illegal again, right? Again like that. The error is gone. Yeah, because it was the name collision. Okay, the name collision, right? So is legal again, right? That's the new function name, and I'm gonna pass user. So I have a user data here. This data, the variable, I'm passing to my, you know, here, right? And that's it. So I'll check if user dot age is greater than 18, then return true. Just checking, right? Else return false. Same thing like above. Okay, now I have a problem. If I call this, I just run this, right? Console log is legal again. So that function needs to, I have to give, I have to pass this variable name. Okay, I mean, this name can be anything, right? This is a parameter. The value is here. I can call it user1, right? It's okay. I just have to call it user1 like that. Okay, but here must be the variable name user, right? User value. Now the problem is saying has no type checking. This variable has no, this parameter has no type checking. Can you give me the type checking? Can you give me your, in that case you call that user now. So now you hover here, right? Here, let's hover here. So now I'm hovering here and look at that. It just first name string, it knows, right? This data is in this format. Okay, and everything should be fine. So if I just compile it tsc-b and run node, so now I have to, by call that dist folder, dist space slash dist, not space but slash, I believe, right? Okay, slash app.js, and it will run, right? See that I get true there because the age age is, right, age is larger than 18. Look at that. So I get true message. So this is how you do the type checking for object, if that is one object. Okay, but normally what happened, right, you're gonna have object always, you have an array with hundreds of objects inside like this. So that means type checking for array, right, with object data. So let's look at the last one. So I mean there is some example, right, like creating the next projects and do some work here, right? I think this get too long, right? Uh, okay, let's keep it up to here. Let's keep it up. We can do this maybe in the next class, little bit more, right? Because it's still a lot of left. But I will show you before we stop, right? Let's install the Next.js app, one app, right? And maybe just do one simple example, this one, right, before we stop. Okay. So how now you're gonna install the Next.js app? How, right? That's the question. First, I have to go back to my two dash typescript folder, right? cd dot. I'm out of this ts app. Okay, I'm out of here. Then I'm gonna create the next project, right? Next project. How you do that? I don't know, right? So let me find out. Okay, Next.js document. I just go to this document. You know that, and installation, and I will copy this. So npx create next app, because you have the next app Next.js already installed in your computer when you run the code first time, right? Npx, now you're just initializing the next project in your somewhere now. Okay, so I will just copy this and paste, right? Look at here, I don't have the project folder yet. I don't know where to install, but it will if I don't put dot slash, right, if I don't put, it will gonna ask me to give the name of your project. So enter. So it says, what is your project name? I'm gonna write let's see, I just have to click here, tsc, right, typescript app, like that. Okay, that's the name of my, oh, there is already type tsc folder, so I cannot do that. So tsc next app. Okay, good to go. So now it says, will you like to use typescript? Do you want to use typescript? Yes. Last time we did no, right? But now every time you install Next.js, make sure you put s there. Enter. ESLint, yes. Tailwind CSS, yes. Source directory, that I don't need, right? No need. App router, yes, of course, because now everything is inside app folder, right? So yes, I need that. And alias for, this was the error last time, right? Like when you do import, @ is the root route, right? Root folder, okay, the project folder. So do you want to change that? No, right? I don't want to change. Leave the default like that. @ will be default, right? So leave it no there, and you install it will install the type Next.js project. So it's gonna install everything what we select, right? You just create the boilerplate to focus in writing the code. Okay, like you don't need to initialize your project folder, adding a lot of app, like compilers and all that. No need to do, right? Everything is taken care now. Good to go, right? So just give it few minutes. So that's how you're going to install the next. Very easy, simple, right? And after that, if you look at, I have the tsc next app folder. So I'm going to go to that folder now, cd tsc dash next dash app, and I will first, I'm going to run npm run dev, right? Npm run dev, right? And it will bootstrap my local development server, localhost 3000. Look at that. I click on this control plus click. Look at that, control plus click. So I press the control button and click, right, and it should run the project, whatever it installed, right? So what you're gonna see here, this is the page you see in the route. So what is this page, right? Look at here, it says app page, right? Everything inside here, app page, right? So let's go to the app page. Inside app, in the page, right? Don't worry about anything now, right? Just look at the app straight, and in the page there is 4 files right inside the app: Fabricon, global CSS, layout, and page, right? First you go to the page and just delete everything, right, inside the return. This is all the HTML and CSS, right? So just delete it, all the main, right? And what you can do is just add a div, right, and call it h1. This is home page, like normal HTML, just now you're writing normal HTML. Just bring your mind right back to your normal HTML thing. So if I have UL and I can put list of item here, right, in the many items here, I can call it 1 and bring it many times, 2, 3, 4. So I did a mistake here. Look at that mistake, right? If there is some mistake, you're gonna know. 4. If you see the red wiggling, right, wiggling, you will see that. Okay, 5. Save and go back and check your code now. Look at that, I have all these things in running, but this, where this coming from, right, this background things, so that is CSS. So you're gonna go back here and delete everything. Just leave this thing. This 3 is tailwind, okay, leave that one. Just delete everything you don't need. From line 5, delete it all, right? Delete everything and save it and go back and check again, and you have nothing there, right? Nothing. So that is all HTML you have. Okay, so the nextjs is all about returning HTML. That is React also, same thing, React, right? Returning HTML. Outside of this return, right, you can add variable, because look at this function, you just exporting the function home, right? Sorry, this returning the function, that's it. Inside the function you can write let x equal to 100, right? Let x equal to 100, and then you can display that 100 maybe here, right? So I can say, just call this curly bracket and call the x, right? And you will see, look at that, 100 is there. So the data, you have a data, you have HTML, you are you are allowed, right? Everyone is allowed to add data straight to your HTML. That's the beauty of this React Next.js, right? Okay, means you're gonna have, just remember, you're gonna have any data, right, you will display there in the same component. This is just a component, right? Function home is a component, and that is what you exporting, right? And this is a child which is displaying inside the layout here. So look at it will do automatic, you don't have to do here, right? Look at this, inside HTML body, inside this curly bracket, right, is any page that you're going to display, it will automatically send here, okay, by Next.js, right? So that is the trick you have to understand, and this is called root layout. What is the layout file? Layout file is like common file which manage all other file to display, right? All other components, depends on the route. Okay, so this is the home route. You can create another route, maybe, we have done that, so let's call it about route. About, so route must have a page, right? It must be page dot tsx now. look at here, right? Everything is tsx, typescript extension, right? JSX, JavaScript extension, now is TypeScript extension. So you're gonna just make a function. So I just put a, this is the arrow function, okay? And here you can call it about page like that, and just return this div. So I have to change again, return export default must be also about page. So here you're gonna have something called, you can put any HTML now, right? This is about page. That is all is nextjs, you're going to learn more details, right? But now if I go back slash about, you see this is about page here. So the text from this page is sent to the layout here inside the layout, right? Look at here, inside this children is now coming from the about page. So depends on this route, the information will be changed automatically, right? That's going to happen. Okay, so I was thinking to do this, right? Where was the code here? So let's say to do, right? To do. So there is the type checking for this to do type. Is same thing what we have done here, right? Same thing. Interface to do type. Then you define again interface to do input. Now you call that to do here, right? To this property to do. Okay. Let's say you're getting to do from somewhere, right? You're getting the data from to do as an object, okay? Object, right? Just destructure that and then call your to do interface here, see? And just return, right? To do the title, to do the description, that is all. But the thing is, you have to get that data from somewhere, right? Somewhere you have to get that. So that is all is here in same like top one. We will continue this next class, okay? Then we're going to finish the remaining part. I believe, yeah, there is still few things to cover. The most thing is interface and there is type, right? Types and the interface, okay? So the difference between two of these, right? We have to understand what is types and why interface, and when we're going to use type or interface, right? They do the same job, but one has more benefit, right? And in what situation we're going to use types or interface to create a types for the object. For array also you'll find somewhere here, right? I believe I added or I miss it, I don't know. Yeah. So when you have array of just array, right, of number, you can put it like number array. And when you have, let's say, object of array, right, then you're gonna put it, that's the user object. So you call the user, and this user is basically inside the array, right? So that is all. Like here, look at this array with lot of object inside, right? So you just simply put it like this. So these two things we're gonna work on next class. So I will stop here, guys. It's long now, I believe.